So, Miss Allie, do you want to address our last common obstacle on yoga and spirituality?
I will. I've so enjoyed my other two partners here and listening to their journey, their yoga journey. And I as well have had a long yoga journey starting back in my 20s. Actually, mine started as a result of health issues because I had migraines. I had a lot of allergies as a young child, but then as a young adult, then I got into more of the migraines, and they were really getting to be pretty debilitating. My mother would take me, she even got a brain scan because she's thinking I had a tumor or whatever it was. But yeah, they were pretty bad. Did biofeedback and some other things. And so I finally decided, did some research on my own. I said, I've got to get a handle on this because it was affecting in my 20s, my quality of life. Even my work. I mean, I started working when I was like 16, but really quality of life. I would miss work because I had serious migraines. The curtains had to be shut, the light, the pounding, I had the true migraines where I would be off work. So I investigated yoga. And so I started, and it was really not just with the mind, but it helped my body to relax. I related with Sue too, to mentally and physically. Yoga is so good. And for me, it was more of a mental exercise, what I needed from the yoga than the physical. I was pretty flexible, but I needed that mental practice that really helped me, along with other ones, change of diet, vegetarian, but it really helped me to kind of get a better handle on my migraines and my headache. And I can think back, and as Victoria and Sue were talking, even health-wise for me, it really resonates so much more that way. I got my husband into Bikram yoga. It really staved off his back surgery by 10 years doing Bikram, but he was going every day. After a little plug for him, he's got his 3,000 hours in Bikram yoga. Now I could not handle the sweat, but I have done it, and then I've stepped back. I've done it and stepped back, but I've always gone back to it because I truly believe it is one of the best mind, body, and spirit exercises out there that you can do at home, in a group, in a park, anywhere, even the meditative side, which I like so much. And that brings me to another story. When I was in a church, when I was talking to a church pastor's wife, and I was telling her about how I love to do yoga. And she looked at me kind of strange about, well, isn't that spiritual in a different spirit? One of the hindrances or obstacles of some people when you mention to them of yoga is the spiritual aspect. Yes, the history came from Buddhism, Hinduism, and religion, and even can trace back as far as Egypt, Kemetic yoga, which is a whole different form. But back then, which we don't do so much now, and I thought about that a lot, the basic difference, I believe, is their God. Back then, people related their spirituality and their lifestyle were so interconnected. It was like one and the same. They're connected with their lifestyle. Yes, it was very spiritual. But I tell you, yoga today has transformed so much until, like I said, you bring your own personal self to that mat. I do bring my own spirituality to it, but I bring it in a meditative state, in more spiritual and not in a religious form, more spiritual to it. And that is what helps with my mind, my body, and my spirit. In the mornings, I do what I call my meditative walk every morning, and do my meditative walk. And it's an hour, about an hour, hour and a half. And then I come back and then I read a little bit too. And it just starts my day out so very, very well. So mind, body, and spirit is I don't know any other exercise that really helps to increase our wellness and health for the whole body. And right now, there are so many different types. The Kundalini, which is very spiritual, I've done that one as well. the Bikram, which is hot. You have your regular hatha yoga. I love nidra, which most people haven't heard of. It's strictly meditative. The yin is just on the floor. It's pretty much all floor, other than dangling. It's pretty much all floor as yoga stretches. So good for the body and the stretches. Again, but for me, mentally, it just works so well. When we had the home health care, it was, I mean, that was a very, very, very stressful time for me. The time prior to that, I had gotten out of yoga a little bit, but I tell you what, when I got back into that business, that stressful business, what did I go back to? Yoga. I got back to my walks. I got back to my meditation, and it really helped to calm not just my spirit, but those around me, and to be calm around the caregivers and the doctors and the nurses and the clients and everybody else. It truly made a difference in each and every day. So I tell you, we bring our own selves to that, and bringing our own selves to that yoga in whatever way that is. If we have tight joints, or if we feel, or if we need just some relaxation, or we need some deep stretching or breathing, that is the essence. For me, the root of yoga is breath. We go along the day, each and every day, where we don't realize we take half breaths. We breathe from up here. Breathing is essential to our life, everybody's life. Just take a deep breath from the gut, just taking a deep breath. You would be surprised how that clears out everything from your stomach on up to your throat, your diaphragm, out through your nose, your head. You gain clarity. We need oxygen in our body for clarity and focus and for thinking. Yoga at its root really emphasizes, no matter the type of yoga, emphasizes breath. Breath of life is what we all need. Breath for life. And that is what yoga is for. No other exercise around that I can think of emphasizes so much in our breath of life than yoga. And I was actually at the doctor's one with my husband the other day, and he's a surgeon for hand and arm and wrist. He does yoga. He practices yoga, and he said his father started when he was little. His father's now almost 80 years old, has been doing it for so very many years. But even his sister does it. So it's gotten into their family, and you see the life in him. And he loves that. He does cycling too. Another thing, it complements any other exercise, from cycling to running to walking. Yoga can complement that exercise as well. But that's why I find it so essential. In today's world, stress and anxiety, there's so much going on. We need to have that mental clarity. It's just so, so very important for us to deal with other people, for us to deal with ourselves and get rid of some of that condemnation that we have on ourselves and some of that negative self-talk. It helps our insight for us and for those around us. Meditation, that's why I like Yoga Nidra. The meditative part of that is so calming, so soothing, that whatever comes in my direction during the day, I can assess it, I can decide what to do with it, and then it goes away. It doesn't hang on and linger, and so I get distressed about it and think about it and so forth. Yes, there are some days I do have that, but I'm doing so much better with recognizing the stress that comes on and letting it go, dealing with it and letting it go and moving forward. Even in our yoga class, it starts with letting whatever your to-do list is, put it aside, out the door. We are only focusing on you. For yoga, it can be one of the best me times that you can ever practice and do. The best me time. We all need self-care. That's a big buzzword, self-care. I call it the me time. We all need me time in this life. Yoga is one of the best me times that you can ever do for yourself. Everything starts right here. And yoga can be so good in bringing clarity into that into our mind, focus into our mind, and just de-stress and get some of our clutter out so that we can concentrate on bringing the good in to who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. For me, the heightened awareness of yoga, the stress release of yoga is paramount. And the added benefit is the ability to have the mobility that you want. And the energy. When we have clarity and mobility, it brings energy along with a breath into our body. If we're not breathing properly, we will find that we don't have a whole lot of breath and energy, because breath is energy.